Lanterns continue to shape itself as a very interesting show and a show to watch. It's interesting how it is becoming a cultural phenomenon and a cultural impact, and I can't wait to see where this show goes. So, with that said, let's talk about lanterns. The episode begins with Al waking up John to training, and I can it kind of reminds me about this military era and all this military training. How they wake you up as early as 5. I don't know what time they do the training, but I've not been in the military before. But basically, from what I've seen from movies and stories that everyone in the military have talked about, is how they wake you up, how they tell you to get ready and start doing training as early as possible, because it's all about being sharp and being ready. And the Green Lantern Corps being a peacekeeping military organization, it's on brand with them, and I love that with the character. And I love the fact that John questioned immediately that Abby told the Guardian about it. It kind of brings in that John Stewart being the type of person who follows and respects authority, and I love that about him. I love the fact that you can see that both of these characters, Al Jordan being the type of person who questions authority, and John Stewart being the type of person who follows authority. It's not contrasting, but it's on brand with the character, and it kind of makes the character bounce from each other and how they interact with each other. And while Jordan will be the type of person that, oh, I don't want to tell my boss, just want to be like, tell your boss. And Jordan being the one with authority, you can't really say that, oh, just because Joshua said I should do it and I have to do it. No, there are some things that you have to just keep quiet for now and investigate further and let's see where this thing go before we bring attention to the Green Lantern Corps. And I love that about our Jordan character. From the beginning, we already know that this is about passing on training, passing on what you've learned, passing on what you feel that you can install or instill into the next person. And I love that about the show, and I love that about both characters, Jordan and John Stewart. And even after that, we got into this training part where Jordan was like, "Okay, I'm trying to train you how to fly since I haven't really been doing anything for the past 2 months. It's time to train you how to fly." He gave him the ring and he was like, "Fly, please." And John Stewart tried to fly, but he couldn't fly. And one thing I would have said is, I think it's time for him to take his advice. You told the kid to imagine, so I think it's time for you yourself to imagine. And Adrenaline basically tell him that since he's a fighter pilot, he understands if just instinctively flies because, oh, what this thing can make me do is anything I want to do. So it's if I say fly, I'll fly. But John Stewart hasn't really got it to that point where he every character has its step by step when they are trying to get their when they are becoming who they are supposed to be. And Justin Wall himself having got to that point where it's time to fly. But what he did was, saying he thought of something that could fly, and he thought of a bird, and that bird, well, probably towards the end, we found that it wasn't really like it's something that I thought of, but something that happened subconsciously. And our Jordan was like, what the hell is that? And he was like, it's a bird. And he said, okay, just give me my ring. And he collected the ring for me. I found that the conscience of the bird is still alive, and it's a living bird. One thing about the lantern rings is that it doesn't really create things with life, and it doesn't really create things that are sentient, that can think for themselves and can just basically do anything they want to do without any control. It's create anything you want with your willpower, but your willpower should be strong enough. So if you want to create a bat or you want to create a machine gun or something like that, you can create it. Those things are not alive, but depending on who you are, those things would be created. So Jordan being who he is, he creates what he wants. He wants to create a glove. He can create a glove. He wants to create a bat or anything like that. He can create it, but he he creates things that he needs at the moment. And as for John being an architect and a military person, it creates things from the inside out to understand the mechanics and how all those things work. So I think he's someone that has this art to him and has this I want to know how this thing works. So that's why it's not really a oh tell the guardian to do this thing, tell the guardian about what we are going what we are doing, and I'll just say I'm not telling the guardian and it just keeps short. It's trying to understand why is Al not telling the guardian. I think later down the road in the episode we end up getting a scope of what John is thinking about and what Al is thinking about and how that is going to play on towards the episode. And I love that about the character. Now moving on, went Al Jordan went back into before that he told John Stewart that go into Coast City being where Al Jordan is from, is still accurate to the comic. Then get me my lantern battery. Now I saw this particular post on the internet, which is quite interesting. Somebody said that if the lantern battery powers the ring, what powers the lantern battery? And this is how it works. The rings is basically like your phone. Your phone needs recharging, and depending on how you use the phone, sometimes it's always 24 hours, sometimes it's 3 days. But recent continuity is now depending on how you use it. So whether if you not use it for a particular for a long period of time, there will still be power on it, and depending on how you use it, the power keeps on depleting. So you charge it with that lantern battery. On recent continuity, you don't need to say the old, but now you have to say it in brightest day, in blackest night. No evil shall escape my sight. So you have to say that oath, then it charges the ring. Now, the battery itself is connected to something called the central battery, which is basically a bigger lantern. It's sometimes it's not shaped like a lantern, sometimes it's shaped like a lantern, but it's basically a big storage device where willpower is kept. Normally you don't carry it and fetch all the energy you need. You don't need to do that. But because that thing is alive and not really it does not sentient, but as long as there's still power on it and there's still will on it, every battery anywhere in the universe um will have enough battery to charge the ring any single time. Anytime you need it, just plug it in. And as long as there's nothing wrong with the central battery, everything works perfectly fine. Now, in that central battery, there's something shaped like a wheel. There was a particular issue, I think during the Blackest Night issue, where they are facing death, and that's what many people were theorizing about it. They were going to have something like that, but I don't think that's what we are going to have towards this episode. My theory is not leading to that. What I'm saying so far is not leading to that. But during that time, we were able to talk about we were able to discover the other emotional entity. There's violet, there's red, there's yellow, there's black, there's white, there's blue. And I think yeah, ultraviolet. Those purplish, pinkish, starfire girls. Isn't that some? I don't think there's any boy starfire, but basically those guys. So there are multiple rays of light and rays of um, lanterns. So in the central battery, the willpower is shaped like a wheel. So that wheel is inside the battery, but it's contained by the collective willpower of everyone in the universe. So as long as everyone has will, that battery is always going to be full. So it doesn't really die. So as long as you believe that there's something or you have will to gather into something, then that thing is always there. So the way Guardians created it is that it's basically absorbed the collective will of everyone in the universe. So moving on, Al Jordan went to after sending John Stewart to retrieve his lantern battery. He went into the field and went to go and do his own investigation and look at the environment. And so that and he's trying to answer the question of how did they know exactly what to shoot? People are dead, and people that actually dead are aliens. How? So he went, he looked around, he saw that he saw this metal detector. He went through the metal detector, he didn't detect metal. He went to his car, he carried the bumper from his car and entered. I found that it didn't work. So he now went back to the morgue where they kept all the bodies, and he carried, I think, two bodies. Yes, he carried two, one by his seat and one at the back, and he dragged those bodies to the metal detector. And when he moved them through the metal detector, he was able to discover that those bodies are aliens. So you now realize that if someone in this town has a technology that is far beyond their capacity. And who is that person? The person that has the benefactor, that has the biggest ranch in the entire town is that person. But before that, he had to into the town to meet with the sheriff, and I think he was trying to ask for was trying to ask for permission before he could do all those things. But they are having a meeting and they're trying to decide whether or not to get our Jordan out of the town. But she didn't really give any attention to it. So we cut back to the and then all this thing happened. That alien stuff happened after he has talked back to the sheriff. So I'm not giving I'm not accounting it directly, but if you watch the episode, you understand what I mean. So we got to John Stewart, who went to the mansion, and he saw that the mansion was very big. And in the comments, Arjuna doesn't have money. Is the Green Lantern cause sometimes I don't think they ever pay people. Majority of what they do is voluntary work. But in a way they get paid somehow, because I don't think anyone will want to do such a dangerous job without any incentive. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. Some people some iteration they talk about how everything in OA being the central the headquarter, everything there is all free and sometimes subsidized, so you don't need to pay for anything at all. And aside from that, they have to do their job anywhere across the galaxy, and if they are given things, they don't really accept it, but sometimes if they are offered, they accept it, like food or stuff like that. They do. But our Jordan explained to John Stewart when he got to the house, he called our Jordan he said that I've got into your house, when you keep your key. Told explained to him that he's in the rock. Then he opened the door. So that the house was too big, and he called our Jordan and asked him about what do you guys get, how much do you guys get paid, and he said that we don't get paid enough. Actually, they don't even get paid at all. But I think in this situation, they get paid. Probably they get paid in a way. I'm not sure, but that's what I feel from this episode. So he told Joshua where the lantern battery is inside inside this safe. And in this one is the modern version. In the comics, there's a particular safe where, like, in the golden age, where Jordan keeps his his battery, and this is just a modern iteration of that. And in that, there are some iterations where they create pocket universe where they keep it. So in if you watch Justice League Unlimited, they in the wall they created just what broke, I think he broke a wall, then created a pocket universe in that wall where they can put the battery in it. So if you look at it, it's just a normal wall, and you can put it on this side, and there's a big space where it keeps the battery in it. And it doesn't really have in that Justice League Unlimited. Just what also doesn't have money like that. It doesn't really have much clothes, just a few clothes on it. Sorry for that. So Justice League Limited is still my favorite Justice League so far. So moving on, he put his hand there and he he took out the lantern. Mind you, all this while Al Jordan created this bird, and this bird has been alive. I love that. I love that. I love the fact that he created a living bird and is not using any ring. I think one of the things I think that's happening here is that they are speedrunning the iteration where John Stewart doesn't need a ring. At some point in the comics, John Stewart got to the point where he doesn't really need a ring to conjure up anything. I think it's some, I can't remember what it's called. Probably something God mode related or so. So John Stewart has got it to that point where it doesn't need the ring, and this could only happen because I think in this situation, probably when he was younger, the guardian kept something in him, and that thing basically gave him much willpower. And I think that will explain the fact why within 10 years in episode 1, John Stewart doesn't have the ring. And I think probably just felt that there's no need. I don't know what happened within those 10 years, but I think that will be the reason why John Stewart is not pissed he didn't end up getting the ring during those time periods. So Algernon told John Stewart to feed his pet Earl, and in the comics, Algernon doesn't have any pet called Earl, and neither does he have a carnivorous plant like that. But I love the fact that he actually did so, and in this iteration, probably not really a dog because it won't within all those time Jordan is going up and down. I don't think the dog will be able to survive unless he has already kept something. I already have someone that is taking care of the dog, which won't really make sense for this situation. But I love the fact that they did that pet plant that's also carnivorous. Also, in this iteration, there are so many things that I love about this particular show and some of the changes that they've made. But I want to see how John Stewart's character is going to play into um, Man of Tomorrow. So let me actually speed run this. We learned something about Anton when they came to come and take John Stewart, and a lot of people have been saying Anton is atrocitus. I don't think this Anton character is atrocitus. The description and everything might be the same, but I don't think he is at all. Even with all those explanation and everything, it's a lot of people will be disappointed, but I don't think the character of Anton is atrocitus. We also got a better look of Billy Making. Yes, that's the name. Billy Making. We got a better look of him of who his character is when Jordan confronted him, saying that he wants to investigate the property, and he was like, "You can't really investigate the property without any warrant." My theory of him being Vandal Savage still stands, and also I think in a way I could accept the fact that he is really being sponsored by someone, but I don't think their character is um blackened in any capacity. The thing about the reason one of the reasons being that the story they are trying to tell would be good, but I don't think it is as grand as they are trying to make it seem. I don't think there's anything grand about this all this Black Hand, Sinestro War, even the Red Lantern War. I don't think it will be. But I feel that Anton, towards the end of the episode, towards the end of the season, will survive and he's going to join the Red Lanterns. Maybe, maybe not. And also, Their species might be one of the species that were stuck in Sector 66 when the Manhunter came over. And I think episode 3 we are going to get a bit of John Stewart's backstory and also the Manhunter in the next episode. So moving on, this particular scene where John Stewart, when after the shot Jordan with sniper, and he was in the hospital. I love that scene, but it's still not my favorite episode. My favorite, my favorite scene. My favorite scene is that mansion scene, and I love some of the lore we got there. I love the fact that John Stewart took the suit and he put it above his chest. Now, one thing I'm feeling is that if John Stewart didn't get or doesn't get his own suit by the end of the series, I have a feeling that he's going to get a Jordan suit, which will not make sense and which will sound stupid, but I have a feeling that's what's going to happen. Either that or he tells what's this guy name? Their gardener to help him make his own suit. The suit that they showed in the teaser where Justin Watts took for where that gave him. I feel it's just a costume that everyone is selling. It's not really a suit that was created for him by the Guardians. Either that or the Guardian really send him his own suit. It kind of reminding me of this John Diggle CW storyline. The hospital scene where Jordan was working and he didn't see anyone. A lot of people are saying that they are aliens, but I feel it is either some of them in majority of those people in the town are aliens, because there's no way you can tell me that everyone don't get sick. Now they have a small clinic which would be okay, but I feel there's one hospital in the entire town, and there are old people in that town, so somewhere is getting sick, or the person that is paying William making is also paying everyone in the town, meaning everyone in that town is bought off. And yeah, but there's something strange with them. I feel I think I'm going to stick with the theory that they are all man hunters in a way, or they are all aliens, which will make sense. It'll be like alien chasing aliens, so it will make sense. But there's something weird in that town that is still surprising me. Also, Williams Making's wife, I've forgotten her name. The wife, the wife. I saw a theory saying that she's Sinestro's daughter, which would make sense because towards the end of the episode we got Sinestro, and it was talking about John Stewart, and the question that arose was that how does he know about John Stewart, especially when he's in the prison, and to make sense, if he has someone in that town that has access to those information, so her being the daughter of Sinestro would actually make sense. But the question now is, why is everyone in human form? I think people are talking about budget restraint, to which I do accept, but I don't like the fact that everyone is in human form. I also love the fact that John Stewart ended up telling Jordan, but I would have loved it more if he had kept some things to himself and not really told him everything. But I still feel like he still trusts Jordan in a way, and I love that about them. Then towards the end of the episode, we got Sinestro, which made the which was like one of the highlights of the episode. But for me, I still love that mansion scene. I love the Lord dump that they did in that mansion scene. So far, Lantern is shaping to one of my favorite DCU projects so far. But I still love Superman. Superman is still my favorite, but probably Lantern will be like the second favorite, followed by Peacemaker. Then we can talk about the rest of the DCU project. I still have a lot of expectations with this show, and I'm hoping that the show is going to be great. I have a lot of things to talk about. Probably next episode, I'm going to be able to describe the episode more and give more theories and talk more better than you expect. But so far, I'm loving what this is, where this is going. I'll give this episode a 9/10, which is actually a great number. The last episode probably will be 8/10 or 9/10 because a strong start to the season. And I'm saying that this show is going to be a cultural impact in some way. So let me know what you guys think about episode 2 of Nine Times. Put your thought down in the comment section below. My name is Adidayo, and this has been Streamdorm. Bye for now.